6 consecutive seasons, they've gone from a bump in the Western Conference road to one of the favorites to play hockey into mid-June. In their way tonight, a possible playoff opponent. The Blues and Sharks have already butted heads 3 times this season. The same ferocity and emotion that was displayed in those prior games will again be on display tonight as the NHL's second season looms. It's a special Thursday night edition of Wednesday Night Hockey from the sold-out Savas Center in St. Louis. 4th and final regular season meeting between the Sharks and the Blues. Hi, everybody, and good evening. I'm Steve Levy. Provided we don't have a tie, somebody's going to clinch something tonight. The Blues win, they'll clinch a playoff spot. The Sharks win, they'll clinch their first ever division title. Now, don't get too attached to these standings. They change constantly. Depending upon what happens tonight, the Blues could be in 4th or 7th in the West. Right now, Darren Pang, they come in the 6th spot in the West. And for all the talent they have on offense and defense, it's going to come down to the goaltending.
Always does. I mean, especially this time of year. The goaltending in St. Louis, I mean, everybody has talked about it and it has been very magnified. Brent Johnson has been the #1 guy since the beginning of the year. 2 games ago against Colorado, he didn't play because of a bad hip flexor, but he bounced back with a good effort against Nashville. Johnson, the last 6 games, has been terrific on home ice, and he has started 9 of the last 10 games for the Blues.
It's a great rivalry, these 2 squads. They've met in each of the last 2 postseasons and might just meet again come this postseason. Brent Johnson will go up against the captain of the Sharks. That's Owen Nolan. Last night, his first 2-goal game of the season, so he comes in red hot. Hockey presented by Nextel. Just about set for the start. San Jose Sharks and the St. Louis Blues. And for tonight's starting lineups, we turn to the PA announcer, Tom Calhoun.
Stay by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. And by Southwest Airlines, official airline of the National Hockey League.
Welcome back to the Savas Center in St. Louis. Which is more complicated, Panger? The fact this is Wednesday night hockey, Thursday night edition, or the Western Conference standings?
Well, you know how good
Tricky
my math
stuff.
is. Yeah. So I'll go with the Wednesday-Thursday thing. But Mika Kiprusoff is going to get the nod in goal for Daryl Sutter's San Jose Sharks. He actually comes in here pretty solid in his last 4 appearances, going 2-0-1. And Evgeny Nabokov, who is their #1 guy, gets a rest. Nabokov's having another outstanding season. And he won last night, 5-3 in Columbus, an important game. The San Jose Sharks will face young goaltender Brent Johnson, an original draft pick of the Colorado Avalanche, now making his mark as the main guy here in St. Louis. And clearly, this is a team that has had some situations. Freddie Brathwaite started the other night 2 games ago against Colorado, gave up a bad one, and then gave up another one, and that was the demise of Freddie for that game. Brent Johnson comes back with a good one in their last game.
And we are underway from St. Louis. The referees Mark Fawcett and Dave Jackson. And here's Mike Eastwood off the break. Little drop for Jamal Mayers. Back behind the net, taken away nicely by Scott Hannon. Mike Rathje comes over to bump Eastwood. Adam Graves digging deep in his own end. Good hit by Mayers, put Hannon down to the ice. Turned over, kept inside the zone, and now finally Rathje. And the Sharks will slowly move it away. Out at center, Todd Harvey. Couldn't get it in deep inside the zone. Really a bad change by the Blues. Now Chris Pronger goes back for it. And a delayed offside 40 seconds in. The linesman, Brad Lazarowicz and Dan Shakty.
Well, it's clearly one of the hottest players on the San Jose Sharks. We mentioned Owen Nolan in the open, but their centerman, Patrick Marleau, has been absolutely outstanding, taking away some of the pressure of Owen Nolan. And right now, Patrick Marleau is on the ice with Mike Ricci and with Nicholas Sundstrom. Coach Daryl Sutter's got his hands full in terms of matching up. He's without especially one key player, and that would be Scott Thornton, who got in a fight last night and is unable to play in this one. And that's devastating. That's, if not the best third line in hockey, clearly one of the best, and that would be Mike Ricci and Nicholas Sundstrom.
Keith Tkachuk will shoot into the San Jose end. We mentioned it earlier on ESPN News. There were 3 fights in the San Jose game last night. Thornton was also involved. Matt Bradley was involved, and both of those players injured in the fights last night. So much for that thought about no one gets hurt in hockey fights. Adam Graves was in a fight last night. He's the only one of the 3 Sharks to play tonight. Stumble by Johnson, And he is fortunate that there were 3 Blues around the puck to rescue him, led by this man, Pavel Demitra.
See who that was, though, flying down the right side? That was Patrick Marleau. His confidence is as good as it's ever been in the NHL, and Patrick Marleau is showing it. In the first 69 games, Patrick Marleau scored a whopping 11 goals. There was some major concern with the San Jose Sharks. What are we going to do? Are we going to have to go get a guy at the deadline? How are we going to go into the playoffs with, you know, just Vincent Damphousse is the main guy? But Patrick Marleau has been solid. Last night, Columbus, well, what little move right here. Whoop, whoop. Short side, makes a good play. Good save there. Now he busts down the right side. Going, look like he was going to the forehand. He stops on a dime, goes to the backhand, and then puts it underneath the crossbar and in. So in the first 69, when he scores 11 goals, Stevie goes 16 without a goal. Since March 26th, 10 goals in 8 games. I mean, it's been a remarkable run for this fine young speedy centerman that's been teamed with Teemu Selanne on the one side, although today all those lines throw them out the window. Daryl Sutter's going to be doing a lot of juggling.
Off the face-off, McInnes will poke it back deeper for Mark Bergevin. And it's one touched out to center ice. The Sharks have to settle things down. There's Gary Suter. Suter put it off Selanne. It caroms in on goal. Johnson will leave it there for Al McInnes. McInnes out ahead, could not connect with Ray Ferraro. We're in the lucky third team. Ray had a couple of goals the last outing for the Blues, including the game winner, both coming in the third period. Backhand shot. Marco Sturm missed the mark. And here's Ferraro lugging the puck out of his own end. It's 2-on-2. Turns into a 3-on-2 as Bergevin joined the play late. There's Dallas Drake back behind the net. He is checked there by Sturm. Jeff Gilson over to help out as well. Gilson on Ferraro now. Sturm trying to sweep it around. Good work by Drake. Up for Selanne on the far side. And he'll clear it away.
What changes by the San Jose Sharks after playing last night? You know they play an up-tempo style of hockey, the Sharks do. They like to get guys in on the aggressive forecheck. I talked to Daryl before the game about that. He usually likes to roll the 4 lines, getting everybody involved. Very seldom you see Daryl Sutter have one player, a forward, playing 25 or 27 minutes. Last night, Vincent Damphousse ended up playing 23 minutes. So Joel Quenneville's aware of that. He knows that Daryl Sutter likes to play that up-tempo style, likes to get his 4 lines in. And it's imperative for Joel Quenneville's St. Louis Blues to be consistent in this game. That has been their demise all year. One good period, fall off on another one, then drop in the game. And clearly their defense is good, but as a unit, they've got to put a lot of pressure on the opposition with a lot of intensity in this building where they played very well.
Marcus Ragnarsson out ahead. Tried to connect with Koroluk and just missed the mark. Johnson will sweep it around. Koroluk and Johnson involved. Doing contact there with the goaltender. Comes up the near side. Kavanaugh for the Blues. Pushed it ahead. And it goes all the way into the San Jose zone. And it's swept out by Mika Kiprasov.
And that will be a minor penalty.
Did not touch the glass. And it will go as delay a game against the young goaltender.
San Jose goaltender, delay of game.
And Kiprasov was making the right move. He actually had a player come back to him, and he could have just stopped it for this player, but he saw the flow going towards him, so he was looking at a counter. But obviously, Kiprasov is a fairly good puck handler. He's got a decent curve on his stick, and the blue guys, that's really low there, making sure everybody in the building is aware of that. The referees clearly saw that. First power play of the game, an opportunity for the St. Louis Blues to get the fans behind them and get some momentum in this hockey game early on.
Penalty comes at 3:06. The Blues power play, very good on home ice. Number 2 in the entire NHL when they're wearing the home whites. Demitra from Mellenby. Far side Kachuk. Back to McInnes. And there's Pronger. Leads like an all-star unit. Here's Mellenby. Quick shot is deflected. Ragnarsson blocked the shot before it made it on goal to Kiprasov. Here's Pronger. Wheels near side McInnes. That one made it on goal. Stopped by Kiprasov. The rebound loose. And Stewart punches it off the end boards, but it's right to Demitra. Back to Pronger. They play catch. Top of the circle. Now the pass tipped low. Mellenby tried to center, and he did center too hard. It went through everybody.
Variation of good plays there by the Blues. One quick play in tight, Mellenby to Demitra in tight. Then they spread out the D and they go back to Al McInnes, who has a quick shot on goal. Kiprasov made a good save with his left pad.
There's Nolan. Fanned on the clear, but was fortunate Adam Graves was there to help out. Got a second whack at it. Pronger will go back here. Look out, there's Nolan. two of the more combative captains in the NHL.
That should be a good battle here in this one. I mean, you've got a couple of really good matchups. And don't forget, even though this is too important of a game, remember the Olympics? What happened? Teemu Selanne and Chris Pronger? And they've played since then. Nothing's going to happen. This is too important, but there should be some good individual battles in this game.
Pronger still has the scar from it.
Oh, he definitely does. You saw that before the game, yeah.
Also saw his beard. He got the playoff beard working a week before the playoffs start.
How desperate it is right now.
McInnes cross for Havanov. Got a second chance there. Sharks get to it. No clear. Not much doing on this St. Louis power play. Here's Ricci now and across the line. Ricci and Ferraro, and Ferraro's the one went flying. Here's Stillman. Rockets one at the crossbar. Off the crossbar behind Kiprasov, who got a piece of it, and we get a whistle.
You know, I think it was offside before he shot it, but the momentum of the crowd, you know, it was just building, and it got so loud that they didn't hear Dan Shakti, the linesman, make the call on the offside. And I originally did think it was offside, and that's a poor play. On an odd man break, I mean, you've got to be disciplined enough. On the left side of your screen, Jamal Mayers just had a step on Stillman, and he couldn't slow down. And so they're looking at it now, and it eventually, even though the whistle went, it went off the glove, off the bar, and then out. So it certainly startled Kiprasov, unless he heard it and tried to lay it off a little bit.
That shake up a young goaltender, even though it doesn't count, even though it's offside and everything. One whizzes off the crossbar.
No.
You think about that?
You know, that's why you go to the minors and you spend some time and go through adverse situations. So you come up here and you can be calm when that does happen, and you can get back to your game. No, I wouldn't think that would bother him at all.
He is a rookie, but keep in mind he's 25 years old, so he's not a rookie as, say, Dan Blackburn of the Rangers. When you're 18 years old. Here's Korolek now. The penalty is over. We're back to 5 aside. And it's sent back inside the San Jose. Suter is back on. Here's Korolek. Wanted to get it in deep, and he's fortunate it did. Kachuk was running right at him. Kachuk gave a look to the referee on his way up. This one will go the length of the ice. Race for the puck. Mellenby tried to lift the stick of Stewart, but couldn't get there in time.
Well, going back to the power play of the St. Louis Blues on Mika Kiprasov. Again, they move the puck from D to D, Pronger and McInnes. Then they work it down low. Kachuk going behind the net here to Mellenby. Watch in front of the net. There's hardly any room. It's a quick play in the medium slot area right around the face-off circle, and Dimitri gets a real quick shot. Here's the play by McInnes. Just an easy snapshot through traffic. This is a difficult save for a goaltender to make just because of the traffic that's in front. Now, obviously, it wasn't a hard shot, but it's a tippable shot, and it's a screenable shot. And the St. Louis Blues are an awfully good team when they score on the power play. And that just goes to show you how tough it is in the game in the NHL at even strength 5-on-5. So you have to take advantage of your special team.
Johnson did not look comfortable there making that save. Damphus won the face-off clean to Ragnarsson, leading to the scoring chance.
You know, that's why there's so much pressure on the Blues. I've talked a lot about this, and I've talked to Brent Johnson and Freddie Brathwaite about this as well. This is not a team that gives up very many shots. So you have to make the timely saves. You go back to the Ken Dryden era in Montreal, where he had 18 or 19 shots, and he made that one save per period. For Johnson, that's been the biggest battle, and for young goaltenders it is. He's not the most patient goaltender in the net. He likes to get going, he likes to get moving, and the more he moves, I find the less effective he is as a goaltender. When he's calm and patient, that he's very good because he's so darn big, and he covers a lot of net.
Blues allow the fewest shots on goal per game, 22.5 shots per game. They're rarely outshot. That went off a shin pad of Mellenby and wide of the net. Damphus will let it go. Dimitri back checking on Graves behind his own net. Graves and McInnes do battle. Far side, there's Nolan. And keep in mind, the Sharks played last night a very physical game, 5-3 win in Columbus. The Blues were off yesterday. Their Tuesday night home come from behind win, 3-2 over Nashville. And Kachuk is trying to chop it free, and finally it does. And out ahead. Here's Dimitri. Quick little shot is deflected as Mellenby is involved in front of the net with Nolan. And they'll separate without an issue. We'll separate from you just for a couple of minutes.
Last night in Columbus, Owen Nolan had 2 goals and 1 assist for 3 points. So the St. Louis Blues have got to stop him. So Pavel Dimitri decided to put the leg out right there as Owen Nolan was trying to regroup inside the offensive zone. And Dimitri's stick was tied up in Adam Graves, so he used his right foot, knocking down Owen Nolan. Dimitri eventually had a chance down the left side that deflected into the stands while going off a sharp defensive stick.
couple of good hits in the San Jose end. Ferraro rips one, the glove save. Kiprusoff, and he'll hang on.
Whoa, what a save that is there. Good glove save by Kiprusoff after a fine play in the offensive zone. And Ray Ferraro had a quick shot. Ray Ferraro's coming off a 2-goal game. Good check here. Young in the corner, taking out Ragnarsson. Good pressure by the forwards, creates the turnover, then the pass out front. And that's the left-handed Ray Ferraro letting a rip, trying to go low to the glove side. And Mika Kiprusoff from our Southwest Airlines goal cam's going to glove it with his, oh yeah, nice save, right in the webbing of his catching glove.
Another good face-off win by the Blues. That one is tipped wide by Dallas Drake. Last two face-offs deep inside the San Jose's end has been clean face-off wins by St. Louis. Here's Young's shot right on, and there's no rebound. Kiprusoff makes the save there. Blues would like to get Scott Young going. Just 3 goals in his last 26 games. Now keep in mind that since he returned from that rather serious eye injury.
He had 3 shots in the last game, playing nearly 18 minutes, and was a +1. Anytime you come back from something as serious as that, I'm sure it takes away a great deal of your confidence, your peripheral vision. In tight, Scott Young, not only we talk about him blowing down the wing and having a great shot, he does have that knack, but also in tight when you make the little plays. Players in the NHL that get points are players that can make plays in traffic, and I'm sure that has really prohibited that part of his game, or at least slowed it down, as you can see by the numbers.
Van Ryn drops for Pronger. Gets it back. Stillman pushes it in softly. Lowe is just ahead of the play, and it's whistled down for offside. Stillman, Lowe, and Nash fill out this line for St. Louis. The Blues come in, winners of 5 of their last 7 games. Now keep in mind, prior to that, the previous 22 games, they had just 7 victories. And that's when people started to doubt the St. Louis Blues. Off the face, Blues win it again. Van Ryn will shoot it around. Rathje gets over to it. That allows San Jose to come out. Shot from the angle. Stern stopped. Stopped by Johnson at the far side. Turnover to Solani. Rips it, and it's blocked by Pronger. Will try to shake off the effects of that one. Hannon gets to it for the Sharks. Able to get it ahead to Ricci. Ricci out there with Solani and Stern. They go D to D in the San Jose end. Here is Hannon. Scott Hannon will shoot in. Johnson will leave it there for Mark Bergevin. Good to see Bergevin back in the St. Louis lineup on a regular basis. He's played the last 5 games, 6 of the last 7. Back behind the net. Sharks able to get to it. Graves got just enough to get out of his zone.
Everybody talks about Mark Bergevin, the character. Mark Bergevin, the comedian, keeps things loose. Mark Bergevin just gave the puck up. Heads up.
Here's Graves. Come on lately. Graves was hit hard. The crowd reacted. Centering feed. McInnes blocked that. Mayer's one of the big hitters for St. Louis, able to make that stop. And that deflection home. I think Graves might have gotten a piece. Looked like he was tied up, but evidently not enough. And it's 1-0 San Jose.
Oh, boy. Joel Quenneville looking around, wondering what the heck just happened there. It looked like they were in pretty decent control. McInnes, you got Jamal Mayers behind the net. Now McInnes had to go search for it. Owen Nolan just puts it on net. Was it the stick? It had to have been the stick of Adam Graves. See if it changed direction here. Well, it definitely did, because Johnson's leaning towards his left with his stick pushing out to the left side. The puck goes through your legs. So he obviously took it for granted that it wasn't going to be touched. He was going to punt it over to the left side. And instead, with one hand on his stick, Adam Graves tips it in.
He was pretty well covered there. Podine had him in front. There was another defenseman there as well. Not well enough. Not enough to tie the man. You got to tie him the stick as well.
Absolutely you do. And at the same time, too, though, as a goaltender, you can't take that for granted. That's a battle area there, so you have to get down low and make sure you cover all the areas. I mean, when it's a shot from the outside, you can time it so that you kick your leg out the right way and have your stick on the ice. But in tight like that, you have to make sure you take away the bottom of the net.
Here's Harvey. His pass off of Young. Stewart comes over to play it for the Sharks. And Johnson will leave it there for the defense. Here's Pronger now. Fake the wrong. Makes the pass outside to Young. Young tried to make the fancy move. Here's Ferraro, quick shot. And a glove save again by Kiprusoff. Might have been on the outside of the net. But he'll take the whistle. It's Graves' 17th from Nolan and Damphousse. Even strength at 828.
What a year by Adam Graves. I mean, what an acquisition that was when they got him from the New York Rangers. Yeah, they gave up a player, a body in return, a young player, Samuelson, but the New York Rangers ended up picking up his salary. I mean, the San Jose Sharks have made some real shrewd moves in terms of salary. I mean, you think of Teemu Selanne as well. The Anaheim Mighty Ducks picking up $3 million of Selanne's salary. So often when you look at the salaries, you're actually wrong. There's $5 or $6 million that other teams are actually paying of the general salaries. That's pretty good. And besides that, what Adam Graves brings to the locker room, that's essential.
Offside at the San Jose blue line. For Adam Graves, maybe an early birthday gift. He'll turn 34 years old tomorrow. As you mentioned, solid on the ice as he is off the ice and in the community. One of the real good guys in the NHL.
It really is, and that's why the Sharks have made the drastic moves that they have made every single year. They're improvements because they've got their nucleus of players that they have, draft picks and kids that are developing, and then they add veteran players like Adam Graves. But you see in 95, 47 points, and then 62. Daryl Sutter took over 97, 98, and they went from 78 points to now 97 points. And that's a wonderful accomplishment by Dean Lombardi, Wayne Thomas, and obviously Daryl Sutter and the coaching staff.
Only the Islanders have ever improved their points 6 straight seasons. How about the San Jose Sharks who got there a richer than last night? Young had a chance in front. Couldn't get it to go.
I think he made a save with his left pad there, Kiprusoff did. He looked sharp early.
Ferraro got the gloves up high on Stewart. Here's Ferraro. Working the puck, and Stewart works him over. Those two remain together. Now they're separated. Selanne deep in his own end. Can't clear. Kept in. Long shot. Stuck in traffic. Never made it through. Nearly bounced to Drake, who was all by himself. But Kiprusoff with a quick stick. And it's chopped out of the zone by Korluk of San Jose. Midway point, period number 1. A special Thursday night edition of Wednesday Night Hockey presented by Nextel here on ESPN. The playoffs begin a week from tomorrow. Steal, turnover, chance, shot, score! It's Tyson Nash! What a move! And it's 1-1!
Bad turnover by the San Jose Sharks. The St. Louis Blues were on a line change. Gilson right over to Harvey. Harvey was looking up ice already. Corey Stillman comes off the ice. He had Nash on the one side. He decided to keep it and then go to the stick side. What a good move by Corey Stillman, who in the past has had a knack for scoring goals, 27 being his career high. He had to use a little bit of power there over finesse at the last second to jam the left or the right skate of Kiprusoff before that puck found its way over the goal line.
Well, thanks for bailing me out, partner. I probably should have known better. Tyson Nash will be very happy, though, that I thought he made that move. It was Corey Stillman on the play.
Well, Nash was right there. He was a decoy. He was calling for the puck.
Please, did Nash even get an assist? No, of course not. On the turnover.
It was a quick turnover.
Stillman on the unassisted goal is 21st at 10:45. It's a 1-1 hockey game. Here's Stillman right back. Finds Nash now. And chips it deep inside the end. Good hit by Lowe.
Someone's hurt. I think Reed Lowe is hurt. He went in the corner with Gary Suter.
It's back out at center ice. We'll watch for that.
What's going on there?
Here's Gilson. He's tripped up in the San Jose end. Suter gets to it. Out ahead for Harvey and backhanded by Graves deep inside the St. Louis end. Johnson's out for a stroll. They'll swing it around. Graves could not hold the zone. Here's Mayers for the Blues up for Eastwood. And Podine with them. A pair of 25s locked up. Podine and Damphousse. Mayers can't keep it inside the zone. Here's Mayers in the second crack across the red line. Shoot in, so there is no icing. Eastwood on the forecheck for the Blues. Gilson comes over to rub his man out. Loose puck still in the corner. Damphousse again. Working over Podine. Blues with puck possession. Will not move to do anything with it.
Good work there, cycling down low. Good support with one another. Two men in down low, and then the third man comes up high.
Sharks will get to it now with Nolan at center. They're onside, barely onside. The pass to the slot just behind the intended target, Brad Stewart, who was sneaking in from his point position.
Yeah, it was Stewart that you thought might have been offside. I thought so too. He jumped in there real quick, and I'm not sure if Owen Nolan saw him on the right side.
That's intended for Ricci and could not connect. And icing is called. 6:56 to go. Pretty good first period. Losing Sharks are 1-1.
Well, the Sharks give the puck up, and Corey Stillman makes a great play going against the grain. And the crowd has got her going now.
St. Louis, not too much pressure on him, but a lot of pressure on the Blues. But they need 2 points to clinch a playoff spot. If they don't win tonight and don't get any help, then they have to count on getting a win out of their home and home against Detroit to close out the season. I realize they're meaningless games for the Red Wings, but still, wouldn't want to count on that either way.
Well, because the Red Wings have to start turning it up at any point now, too. They played to a 3-3 draw last night against Chicago, but you have to have momentum going into the playoffs. You have to be all on the same page. So, clearly the Red Wings will be a tough test for them. And think about it, the Red Wings could also determine the St. Louis Blues' fate. I mean, if it's a situation where St. Louis loses both and doesn't get in, and Detroit just, as a group, they say, St. Louis Blues are tough too. Make sure we help that out. So, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of scenarios, and you just have to make sure you're ready and don't put yourself in that position if you're St. Louis.
Sunday season finale, 4 o'clock Eastern start. You'll see it over on ESPN2. You going to be there, Penny?
Absolutely. Yep.
Keith Tkachuk. And there's a stop by Kiprusoff, and there is no rebound. Again, we tell you the Western Conference standings rather confusing. This is a special Thursday night edition of Wednesday Night Hockey. We'll get this. There's a special Saturday night edition of ESPN's Wednesday Night Hockey. This figures to be pivotal to Martin Brodeur and the New Jersey Devils. They're in Washington to take on the Capitals at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. There are a lot of experts out there pick the Capitals to win the conference, and they are out of the playoffs. Simply amazing.
Are you one of those?
Nope. I'm not an expert, nor did I pick the Capitals to win the conference.
I think I did.
I didn't even know that. You thought I was taking a shot at you there, Pat. I didn't know that.
They underachieved.
You think? Look at some of the serious payrolls around the NHL that will not be in the postseason. And the Blues might be one of them.
That's the fabric of the game of hockey. It's about what's inside your locker room and how hard the players want to play for one another. It's all about chemistry.
Washington, Rangers, Dallas doesn't look like they'll win. The chance for San Jose as they broke in with Patrick Marleau. There's some of the great speed you were talking about, Panger, but he couldn't get the shot away. There's Bergevin leading the rush on the far side. Finds Stillman, the lone goal scorer for the Blues. Bergevin in deep. Now he'll race back. Blues go for wholesale changes. Patrick Marleau's got goals in 6 straight games. That's second in the NHL this season. Luc Robitaille earlier had a 7-game goal-scoring streak. Under 5 to play here in the first. The Blues and Sharks are tied at 1. Blues win, they clinch a playoff spot. Sharks win, they clinch their first ever division title. And they are offside at the San Jose Blues line. Just in case you're not sure where this game is coming to you from, St. Louis, Missouri. Back in St. Louis, Wednesday Night Hockey Special here on Thursday night, presented by Nextel. We're 4:48 away from the Dodge Intermission Report. Coming up, John Butchergross, Sports Center in game, underway in Augusta. I know you're focused on that, Banger, during the afternoon.
I got more pools going on right now. My goodness.
LA Dodgers Bonds. Barry had the game-winning hit last night. Wasn't a home run, though. All that coming up on Sports Center in-game Dodge Intermission Report.
I know it's close to playoff hockey when the Green Jacket's about to be slipped on. Greatest time of the year for me.
I learned something about the map. You don't get to keep the Green Jacket. You have to return them.
No, you do.
You get to keep it for 1 year. I was shocked to find that out.
You'll keep it in the closet?
I don't know. It's not as if someone else can wear it, right? They're all different shapes and sizes.
I'm afraid to ask Scott Van Pelt that.
Nolan is checked hard. And the puck into the St. Louis end. Now Eastwood with speed. Mike Eastwood, little drop from Mayers. Backhand shot. Kiprusoff Little left pad save and kicked to his own glove to make the stop. Well, the Cardinals are in the middle of a big homestand here in St. Louis. This is, of course, one of the great baseball towns in America. And tomorrow night, Friday night baseball from Busch Stadium, just down the road here. We'll see the Houston Astros take on J.D. Drew and the rest of the St. Louis Cardinals. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Friday night, tomorrow night, right here on ESPN. All that noise outside of your hotel room, Bagger. It's coming from those baseball fans.
I saw them piling in, piling out.
Had a little afternoon action today. And here's Brad Stewart for the Sharks. It's a pretty good double dip for a sports fan in St. Louis. With Cardinals in the afternoon and the Blues at night. 4 minutes to play, period number 1. The Sharks and Blues even at a goal apiece. Stillman for St. Louis, Graves for San Jose.
Stillman came around the net on the breakout, and the defenseman, I don't know, didn't give him the puck, and so then there were no other options for him. But clearly the St. Louis Blues are going to receive some good news here. I spoke to Doug Waite on his way into the building, and he has been given medical clearance for the St. Louis Blues. He's had a nasty pelvic injury, and Doug Waite, when you look back at what happened, I mean, you'd think that this happens a lot in the game of hockey. It's the way he went into the boards here. He tried to give a little shake and bake, and the training staff, Ray Burley, was saying it's more like something you'd see in a car accident, where the pelvic area, everything kind of gets contorted and twisted up and crushed. And so for Joel Quenneville, his #1 centerman, although you can argue that by the time he left, I mean, Pavel Dimitrov has really done really a terrific job as a centerman when he's a natural right winger. But Doug Waite will play on Saturday at home against the Detroit Red Wings, and he'll see how he feels after that.
Set for an update. Let's go back to John.
Thanks, Steve. Bruins, if they win this game, they win the Eastern Conference. They're in Ottawa. Roger Nielsen, head coach in this game for the Sens, 999th career head coaching game. That's Benoit Brunet's 100th NHL goal. 1-0 Sens in the second.
All right, John, thank you. Coming up after hockey tonight at 11 Eastern, it's Sports Center. Dan Patrick and Rich Eisen, the Masters. You gotta love it.
That gives me a hint. Gotta love it 3 times. Is that what you're trying to say?
And we'll spotlight the early season surprises in Major League Baseball. Also ask the question, what's the toughest feat in all of sports? Had an interesting question last night on Sports Center. They asked
Callis
the biggest
or Bunyan's feet?
No, that's F-E-A-T. The biggest lock in sports. And the Lakers winning the title, won over the Red Wings winning the cup. The Tiger to win the Masters was also one of the choices. Here's Stewart back behind the net, wrapped around the boards. Solani is double teamed. There's Dimitra, hit hard by Stewart. Centering feed. Here's the quick shot. That was blocked by Ragnarsson. And the goaltender Kiprusoff will hang out to it, right side of his post.
Good work. That's what the St. Louis Blues really have to do, is keep that puck down low. Really keep it simple. Get the puck down low, work it on the San Jose Sharks defenseman, and then try to get a man open. Here you see the top part of your screen. Keith Tkachuk got himself open. He's a left-hand shot. That puck was blocked. And that was Ragnarsson came out, the defenseman #10, one of the really more underrated defensemen in the league. He made a good shot block with his left skate. Keith Tkachuk didn't get everything on that shot, but that's a good area to be in. On home ice, he has been absolutely dominant. 27 goals in the 35 games.
Off the face-off. Another clean face-off win by the Blues. But that shot doesn't make it on goal. And it's cleared out to center by Patrick Marleau. You mentioned Doug Waite. This is interesting, Panger. How the Blues offense suffered without Doug Waite. Keep in mind he's missed 19 games. Waite's missed 19 games. He's still third leading scorer on the team. You'd think somebody would have passed him in the course of those 19 games. Pronger's soft shot is gobbled up by Kiprusoff.
Well, I know that when you talk to the veteran players on this team, you talk to the Chris Prongers, and you talk to the Doug Waites and the Keith Tkachuks, I mean, they're as disappointed as anybody, because when you don't have success in a consistent manner, you look to the veteran players. When you spend a lot of money and you're a team that's climbing, not just climbing to be a playoff team. The St. Louis Blues are climbing to be a Stanley Cup championship team for the first time ever. I mean, they've made the playoffs 22 straight years. That's wonderful and everything. And this will be the 23rd if they get in. But it's about winning the Stanley Cup. And so Doug Waite's a big part of that. And The good news is that that scan that he had on Tuesday revealed no internal bleeding, so that cleared him for the final medical burial. So that could be a start in the right direction. Where everything in the regular season, there's still a team that's over 90 points, but it could get him in the right area.
Sturm backhander knocked down by McInnes. Puck still loose deep in the St. Louis end. Sharks have 4 shots on goal. The Blues have 8. Pretty much what you'd expect out of the Blues. They just do not allow shots on goal.
Yeah, and you know what? They've got a team right now that doesn't have much jump. So it seems to me like San Jose's sort of getting their legs, kind of weathering the storm. They're playing a fairly conservative game, and I'm sure they'll pick things up in the second period. They come out over here after tied 1-1 against a desperate team. That's not a bad way to start on the road.
Again, San Jose is the team that played last night, not St. Louis. It's Tyson Nash. Out ahead for Drake. He finds McInnes, and they're offside at the San Jose blue line. A minute 29 to play in the first.
Well, I'm sure Daryl Sutter, the head coach of the San Jose Sharks, is happy to see that the St. Louis Blues have gone undisciplinedly offside 4 times in this period. But Daryl Sutter's accustomed to being at the top level. He has never missed the playoffs in his 16 NHL seasons as a player or a coach. And that's 8 as a player and 8 as a coach. And so that's including this year. And I had a chance to, I played with Daryl, and I know what he's like as a player and as a coach. And he's an intense guy that has surrounded himself with good people, Steve, on the bench. He's surrounded himself with Rich Preston, a former teammate in Chicago, and Lauren Mollican, a former head coach of the Chicago Blackhawks.
Sent in softly into the San Jose end. That wasn't soft, that was hard. A couple of big hits. Drake made the big hit but couldn't get the puck. Hamanov is caught deep. And it's a one-on-one. It's Solani who now wait for some help. And that shot, Johnson could not hang on to it. Todd Harvey got the shot away. Johnson gloved it but could not hang on.
A couple of big hits in the offensive zone for the St. Louis Blues, and with the injuries that have occurred in last night's game against Columbus, you don't want to see another player on San Jose crumble down after getting hit. They've been fairly healthy all year long.
McInnes turned it over, a bad turnover to Nolan, but he doesn't have to pay for it, at least not yet. That shot went off the mark, deflected wide. Here's Marlowe. A couple of Blues on him, including Al McInnes. Mayers lost his edge. That allows Graves a free lane. Tried to get it to Nolan. He's in his skates. Pronger up the near side. And here's Mayers. Trying to split the defense.
Good.
Banged down by Jeff Gilson.
Good open ice hit by Gilson, standing up at the blue line.
Drop pass. Suter. A rocket shot. Save the rebound. Stopped by Johnson as the horn sounds, ending the period.
First time the San Jose Sharks had some sustained pressure. Both goaltenders fairly sharp, although Kiprusoff made the more saves. A couple of glove saves on Ray Ferraro in that first period.
Adam Graves has the goal for San Jose. Corey Stillman has the goal for the Blues. And after 20 minutes play on this special Thursday night edition of Wednesday Night Hockey, the Blues and Sharks are 1-1. SportsCenter in game after these messages.
With him on the far side, used Nash as a decoy, and then went all alone and made a real nifty move on Mika Kiprusoff.
I thought Nash was a great decoy, faking out a lot of people as we are underway in period number 2. The Sharks in the road teal, the Blues in the home whites. Something else St. Louis might want to work on, Panger, and they only have one chance to do it. Road record. Last year, they were a dominant team in the league, had a losing record on the road. This season, they're just 500 on the road. You'd expect them to be much better. Here's a chance. Young rips one. And off the target. Drake to keep it in deeper. Off for Ferraro. Rolls up on the far side. McInnes. Tried to dump it in deeper. It's picked off, though, by Hannon. Good hit by Drake, who was always among the bigger hitters for the Blues. Onside. Here's Ricci now. In front. Broken up by McInnes. It's Young back the other way. Off for Bergevin. He'll cross the line and shoot it. And Mika Kiprusoff getting the start tonight in place of Evgeny Nabokov. And he made the save without a problem there. Glanced off the sideboards. Would have been a nice play of work. Danfus couldn't get there. Van Ryn does for the Blues. Far side, Adam Graves, a goal scorer for the Sharks. Can't get to it. Pronger will sweep it around as the two captains got together behind the St. Louis net. Here's Mayers with speed. Couldn't beat Suter. Mayers will get another chance. Eastwood was hit pretty hard to the boards on the far side. Good battle in front of the net. Shot stopped. Rebound loose to Eastwood, who wins the battle against Graves. Long shot from the point is stopped by Kiprusoff. Loose puck, and it's in, but it won't count. They're going to say the whistle had blown despite Sean Podine's argument.
And the fans got on their feet quickly, didn't hear the whistle, and then saw the referee point towards the face-off circle. And it was a quick one, giving the goaltender the benefit of the doubt. Once the referee loses sight of it, that's their job to call it down. And a good little play here by the energy line here of the St. Louis Blues. Good shot originally, rebound there, and then Mike Eastwood does a nice job of getting inside position on Adam Graves. That gets a shot from the point. Good save with the left toe, although that was going wide, and that's where the referee blew it down before Podine could take the puck on his backhand, and the whistle clearly goes, and then he fires it in there. None of the San Jose Sharks were even trying at that point. Good backhand nonetheless by Sean Podine, and he's been added to this line. It's been a good one, really. Mike Eastwood has really been coming on since the Olympic break, and Jamal Mayers is a natural winger. He was playing center before. It's just not his natural position. He's a winger that gets in and crashes and bang. He's got great speed, so that line has been an effective line for Joel Quenneville's club.
Podine, though, struggling in the goal-scoring department. No goals in his last 15. His last goal came against his former mates, Colorado, back on March the 11th. That puck went through the crease. Here's Solani back the other way. Drop pass. McInnes got a stick on it, couldn't clear. Stewart's shot missed the mark. On the far side, Marcus Ragnarsson will get to it. Shot is blocked, and it's cleared out to center, and Stewart will jump on it. We were talking pregame about how good the San Jose defense is. You look at some of the names. Keep in mind they're missing Brian Marchment tonight.
Yep, Brian Marchment injured when he went into the boards when the door was open. Oh, it's good!
Deflection by Tkachuk, and it's 2-1 Blues. A perfect tip.
Putting the puck on nets, never a bad thing. And we've seen 2 goals here. One by the Sharks putting the puck on net and then being redirected in front. This one here by the St. Louis Blues after Kiprusoff hesitates and then plays it. It hops over the stick of the defenseman Ragnarsson, and the forward Keith Tkachuk from our Southwest Airlines. Tkachuk goes in and puts pressure. Watch Tkachuk now in front of the net. It's a redirection, and it barely goes between the legs of Kiprusoff, the same way that the Adam Graves one went through the legs of Brant Johnson.
His 38th goal of the season for Keith Tkachuk. Comes at 2:10. Lone assist to Scott Mellenby, and it's 2-1 in favor of the Blues.
Again, one of the keys there is that slight hesitation. Kiprusoff had control behind the net. By the time you take your time like that, it allows the defensive team to get in better position. But he fired it over the stick. I believe it was the defenseman Ragnarsson that was over at the hash marks, over towards his left. It goes over his stick. One quick play, and he would love to have that one back because you don't want to expose that bottom part of your leg.
Ragnarsson's shot, Sturm nearly tipped it home. Here's Marlowe for the Sharks. Back to the point. Here's Stewart, lets it fly, and he scores! Might have been deflected in front off Solani, and it's a 2-2 game. The Sharks bite right back.
What a way to come back when you're on the road. They put the puck in deep, put some pressure, got it back to the point, cycle it down low. Teemu Solani in the middle of your screen does some good work there. By the time the puck goes D to D, Solani had come back out in front. Now the key here, and I'm sure the Blues want to take a look before they drop the puck. Did Solani kick this into the net with a distinct kicking motion? And I will tell you that he clearly has good vision on this puck. He clearly gets his right foot out there and angles it perfectly. He's a savvy soccer player. And into the net by the left side of the goaltender, Brant Johnson, who has no chance on it. Now, the key here, angling or distinct kicking motion.
I would say that was pretty distinct.
I guess one of the things is distinct, meaning if you've got a soccer ball and you boot it and your knee and your leg is on a hinge, that's distinct.
Look
if you
to
just
me
angle
like
your skate and redirect it, is that the same thing?
It looked to me from that last replay like he put his foot in that position to direct it in intentionally, and that is the discussion right now. It's interesting to know there is no NHL supervisor at this game in particular. The video goal judge is Jim Kemp.
I find these are always very difficult.
I think he moves his foot.
To the naked eye, clearly Solani knows what he's doing, and he does clearly turn his skate and redirect it with his skate. And when you look at the the rule book and the reason for video goal judge, Rule 93D is puck directed into the net by a hand or foot, and that was directed into the net. So they are going to take a look at that, and immediately the officials went to the timekeeper's box to talk about upstairs. They just needed some help. It happened so quickly, and with the rules put into legislation a couple of years ago about the distinct kicking motion, we had to define what exactly it was. 10 years ago, that was clearly not a goal. And then they changed it, say, you know what? Well, what's wrong with that? I mean, you're around the net, and a guy angles his skate blade. Well, why not count it? And so they often use the reference was your foot on a hinge, that booting motion. So, I mean, if I'm a goalie and I'm in the net when I'm playing, that's in the old original 21 team league, I'm arguing like crazy because that's not a goal. You can't do that. It has changed somewhat, and I agreed with the change, to be quite honest with you.
It's an interesting discussion. There are some out there who say, regardless of what you do, if it goes in the net, it should count as a goal. I mean, the upside there is more goals, no stoppages like this, no reviews. I guess the downside is you kick, you could injure a player too while attempting to kick the
That's why they use that distinct kicking motion where you're actually booting it and your skate's leaving the ice and you're making a kick like a soccer motion. But the other thing too is all veteran savvy defensemen hold your stick. As discreet as it may be, they hold your stick. There's no way to get your stick on the ice half the time. And so, I mean, Daryl Sutter, while he was playing, I mean, try to get your stick on the ice. He's looking around like, just give us an answer here. Let's get things going. We've taken all the momentum away from this hockey game. But they got hold of your stick. They're grabbing you around, and the player has no chance of deflecting anyway, so why not be able to use your skate blade to redirect it into the net, as long as, like you say, you're not putting anybody in harm's way by kicking. I would think that this, you know what, people are going to disagree with me, but the way the rules have been set up and the way it's changed, I just think that this is a goal. I call this a redirection.
But I thought he moves his foot intentionally to redirect.
But that's fine, though. It's still not a kicking motion. It's a redirection of a motion.
I guess in the black and white then, but I think his intent is clearly there to move his foot, and if you just say that is not distinct kicking motion. And it is no goal, as you can tell from the crowd reaction. And Daryl Sutter wants a piece of somebody. He's livid. He's nearly on the ice.
This will get the attention of the San Jose Sharks, though. They've needed a fire. They thought they came back after doing some good work down low and working the puck low and then getting into the points and then getting it on net and scoring a goal, taking away the momentum that the Blues had. The Sharks haven't played intense hockey in this game. There you see the referee trying to explain it. I don't know. I mean, they went upstairs and they decided that. That's just the way it is. They saw it every which way but Friday. and I agree with Daryl, though. And I only say that because of what I've seen and the way that it's been described as that kicking motion. But clearly they saw that he did more like you saw, so you should be an official.
Yeah.
You should be up ice, upstairs, looking at that. You did a fine job. You passed.
I got enough problems with my eyesight. Doing right where I am. Sit next to you, brother. Inside the San Jose zone and then punched right back out. Here's Pronger. Across the red line. We'll shoot it in. It would have been 41 seconds after the Blues had taken the lead. Mayer's big hit on Suter. Suter and Mayers. I think Suter's going to go. Mayers, who initiated the hit, lost his helmet. And it will be a St. Louis power play. But first, here's John Butchergross. John.
Thanks, Steve. Live and kicking in Ottawa, the Senators home to the Bruins. Radically bonked. Wraparound goal, the Sens, 5th in the Eastern Conference, lead 2-0 after 40. Meanwhile, the Islanders are 7th, but a win gets them to 6th. And if they win and the Sens lose, they'll be 5th. 1-0 here on Braz Izbish's goal, but it's now 2-0. Kit Muller got the second.
All right, John, thank you. Suter's in the box. It's not for fighting. It's just a minor, but he got his first fighting major against St. Louis back on March 13th. His first fighting major since December of '91. That's a long time ago.
Who did he fight in the first one?
We asked him about that earlier today, and he said it was a Calgary-Buffalo game, and he fought Donald Audette, but he said, could you please tell everybody it was Rob Ray? Audette not necessarily known as a fighter. And Suter also said, Panger, it's not fair. He had a couple of roughing penalties in between that should have been fighting majors. He's taken some grief from the boys on that, but a significant amount of time in his career in between official fighting majors. Power play underway. It still has 90 seconds left in it, and they're called for icing on the power play.
Well, if I'm a goalie playing for Gary Suter, I don't want him in the penalty box fighting anyway. I want him on the ice because he has been one of the most consistent defensemen in the NHL, and people that surround the San Jose Sharks and see him night after night, they just marvel at his hockey sense and how he puts himself in position. He always makes the right outlet pass, very rarely coughs the puck up, always has his head up. And Gary Suter was one of the great acquisitions that they made, no doubt about that. Sign him as an unrestricted free agent.
Face-off, left of Johnson again. The Blues win the draw. It just seems like I'm saying St. Louis wins the draw almost every time. We'll get to the official face-off numbers.
Well, I tell you, San Jose was 60% in the first period, which you find surprising.
I think it's just the key face-offs then, as no one gets to it and he'll clear down the length of the ice. Minute 10 left in this Blues power play.
Key part of this hockey game too, because a goal disallowed, 2-1 hockey game now. If they score here, it makes it 3-1.
Excellent point. Dimitra rolls it around, just got it by Nolan. Here's Tkachuk. Tkachuk has the goal that is the difference right now. Off a deflection, and here's Pronger now. Headman pass to Stillman, who's got the first St. Louis goal. Young on the far side. Young is really hit by Rathje. Ferraro can't get to it. Sturm can't clear. Kept in by Pryor. Shows you some patience there. Now McKinnon gloves it and shoots. Blocked before it made it on goal.
Well, that had to be scary for Mike Rathje because that puck was on end when Al McGinnis went to fire it, and Rathje was right in the lane. Fortunately, it was on end, and he was able to grab it.
Ferraro trying to get to it. Loose puck. One hand on it. He's taken down by a couple of Sharks. Here comes San Jose out to center. Short-handed. Here's Marco Sturm, backhander. Here's stopped by Johnson.
I think that might have hit the knob of the stick of Johnson, too. That was a good attempt there by Marco Sturm.
Throwing a nice pick. Here's Stillman. Shot, score! Corey Stillman from Ray Ferraro. And it's a 3-1 Blues lead.
Power play goal by the St. Louis Blues after Marco Sturm of the Sharks. His backhand attempt, you see the defenseman number 2, Rathje. He got caught up deep. Little pick there by Drake on Dampus. And what a pass by Ray Ferraro right over to Corey Stillman. Ray Ferraro with a nifty little heel-to-toe backhander. Flat on the ice. Stillman has it with momentum. Both Stillman's goals are similar in that the play's going one way. He gets the pass with speed and is able to go against the grain on the goaltender. So far in this game, Stillman has deked Kiprusoff once to the glove and once to the stick.
It's a shifty night for Corey Stillman. If you're thinking about it, only one Blues player with all his talent, only one Blues player has a hat trick this season, and it's that man, Corey Stillman, January against Dallas.
Twice in his NHL career, he scored 27 goals. This is a good move because he froze Kiprusoff. And so both times he is seen as a shooter, Stillman has. He has seen two things. Do I shoot the puck or can I make a move? Obviously, and we talked to Keith Tkachuk about this before the game, if you're a shooter, you shoot, and if you're a deker, you deke. And Corey Stillman has good ability to freeze the goaltender and then go on and making sure he can go wide enough. And clearly on both those goals, he showed that type of move.
Could be the turning point in the game, the disallowed goal, as you pointed out, the real change in momentum. 41 seconds after the Blues take a 2-1 lead. The Sharks think they tied it, find out they have it, and then they get the quick goal after that to make it 3-1. Officially, it's an even strength goal. It came 2 seconds after the penalty had expired. Officially, but between you and I, it's a power play. Well, you can't get back into play.
And clearly, with Marco Sturm going down the right side and Mike Rathje deciding to join the play, trying to create a little offense or get a rebound. That's two guys caught in deep and St. Louis going the other way. And then there was a nifty little pick there. I thought Drake did an excellent job of getting in the way of Damphousse.
Here's Graves. That shot is tipped wide. Damphousse on it now, near side boards. Nolan trying to get it away from Eastwood, could not. Gilson can't hold the zone. And Suter will go back for it. Clearly the Blues, the better rested team and by far the more desperate team. Sharks are going to the playoffs. The Blues at this point, we don't know. It's a 2-on-2 to the right side of Brent Johnson. Kick free to Pronger. And here comes St. Louis. It's a full-fledged 3-on-2 as they hit the red line. For Mellanby trying to get it back to Pronger for the tip and could not. Van Ryn back on it. Again, it's Pronger. He switched hands. Pronger to Mellanby. Centering feed. That shot was fanned on. It's Dimitra. Far side for Mellanby. He'll get to it. McKinnis, the rocket shot. Missed the mark. Rolls up the near side for Serrani with good speed. Trying to beat McKinnis. Rubs it out nicely. Marlowe to check on Tkachuk. And Dimitra. The pace of this baby starts to pick up. The far side, Mellanby. Here's Tkachuk's got a step. Hits the bridge. Looks for some help. It's Dimitra. The shot's tipped over the net. Now out at center. Marlowe hit by Tkachuk. We get a whistle, and a penalty is going to come up. Looks like it's going to be interference against the Blues. Corey Stillman's kind of night so far. Special Thursday night edition of ESPN's Wednesday Night Hockey, presented as always by Nextel. 12:08 to play here in the second. Steve Levy, Darren Pang, and our fine National Hockey Night crew with you. This was a 1-1 game until Tkachuk got his 38th from Mellanby, even strength to 210. Then Corey Stillman, second of the game, 22nd of the season from Ferraro, even strength at 5:18, making it 3-1. And Tkachuk is sit out the next 2 minutes for interference. 7:52, the time of the penalty. Quick shot from Nolan. Still is great glove save, Brent Johnson. Save of the game right there. Keeps it a 3-1 game.
Now that's the kind of save the Blues have been looking for. That's the kind of save that you need in playoff competition that stops the momentum of another team. That is a wonderful save by Johnson, who for a big guy, he's 6'2", 198 pounds. He has shown flashes of brilliance with his glove all year long. It's a wide open net for Owen Nolan. He thought he had something there. I mean, he thought he had an open net, and he did. Johnson's leaning more towards his right, and then he's off balance here, leaning forward. Then the glove comes back. So he is a good reaction-style goaltender. And with that big body, if he calms things down and gets himself square to the shooter, he has got a lot of ability.
His last game against the Sharks was very impressive. Back on March 13th, he shut out San Jose, stopping the St. Louis-like 18 shots. Serrani, shot, kick save, left pad save by Johnson, and the puck pops out of play. And it's into the 6th row. 90 seconds left in this power play. Saturday, we encourage you to experience all the thrills and spills of short track speed skating as ABC Sports travels to Montreal for the 2002 World Championships. That's this Saturday, 5 Eastern and Pacific on ABC. And speaking of Montreal,
yeah,
good to get some new blood, huh? Absolutely. New blood in the playoffs. The Canadiens are in. Chicago Blackhawks are in. I know, as I say, all these new blood teams get back into the playoffs. The Islanders, well, that means some teams are coming out of the postseason. But good for hockey. Montreal, Chicago.
Well, when you go to training camp, every team, you go to training camp, you know, thinking of winning a Stanley Cup, and you've got to first put yourself in that position. The Canadiens are a great story. There's no doubt about that.
Shot is blocked. This is still power play time. Sharks went for the big hit, and that leads to this. Here's Drake, one-on-one. Got some help. Young backhander. And there was 5-hole room there for a second, and Kiprusoff shut it down.
Great save by Kiprusoff, coming out and taking it away, but Young remembers a right-hand shot, so he went to his backhand. You don't quite have the accuracy on your backhand as you do when you're on the forehand, but Dallas Drake waited for Gilson to come towards him, and then he waited for somebody to join the play. So Suter was there, but Young had the puck. Behind Young was defenseman Chris Pronger. And I will say this, as we take a look, there's 1 minute 1 second left on the power play. My son's a left shot and the left defenseman. He likes to join the rush, and Tyler's at home right now. It's his 12th birthday.
Hey, happy birthday, buddy.
Happy birthday, Tyler. 12 years old. That means I'm getting. That's what that means.
It's amazing. You don't look old enough, Banger, to have a 12-year-old son. And I know Lynn doesn't look old enough, that's for sure.
He definitely doesn't. I definitely.
Talk about upgrading. We'll get into that another time. Oh, man, playing above your head. Shot down the length of the ice. And Rathje is back for it for the Sharks. Coming up on the midway point of this hockey. Here's McKinnis. He'll fire it around. Whoop. And out of the zone. 30 seconds left with the Tkachuk penalty. Here's Drake trying to center for Young. It was broken up. Who's looked pretty good on this penalty kill.
Darn right. They're getting more from one line. Every line is contributing, and obviously Stillman has 2 goals, and he's supposed to be on the 4th line. So they've been relying so much on their top line, and when the other guys aren't going, that puts too much pressure. But they've got everybody so far going as far as the forward ranks.
Drake is one of those guys to watch. He has 3 shorthanded goals, tied for 6th in the league, as that puck is deflected out of play. Our Visa storyline, Corey Stillman's got a couple of goals, not just tip-ins either. 2 really pretty-looking goals, and the Sharks looking to clinch their first division title in franchise history.
Well, the one-time Calgary Flame took advantage of this ill-advised breakout pass by the Sharks. He comes in off the bench, and he makes a nifty little move to the stick side. Then Ray Ferraro with a terrific backhand pass right on the tape. Stillman goes to the backhand this time to the glove side. So he's changed it up. And I'm sure if Kiprusoff sees him the next time, he's going to be wondering which way to go. So you know what you do then? You fire right between the legs.
Hey, not because he's our old colleague, but let's make more of that pass. That was a brilliant pass by Ferraro.
Well, Ferraro's really
first on the backhand,
right.
And then it was flat, as you point out there. That's hard to do.
That's right. Well, Ray doesn't use much of a curve on his stick, and he's able to get that pass flat like most guys do on the forehand. So terrific play by the veteran Ferraro.
He knows it's playoff time right around the corner. Absolutely. Centering feed. Poor luck shot just goes wide. If Ray and the Blues go to the postseason for Ferraro, it'll only be his 2nd postseason appearance since 93-94.
Last one was 97-98 against the Blues when he was a member of the Los Angeles Kings.
That's a lot of watching hockey on ESPN and ESPN2 that you're not participating in. The playoffs start a week from yesterday. You ready? It is just around the corner. Here's Bergevin. Quick shot blocked. Nolan kicked it ahead, but McKinnis is back for it.
That's what we wait for, too. That's what we wait for. Long year. Playoffs are what it's all about.
Players don't get paid the postseason. We get paid. Yeah, check the fine print on that. It's a little late to ask, huh? Players are playing for something else in the postseason. Shiny trophy. Best trophy in all of sports. Johnson will leave it there. Defense wraps it around. Here's Tkachuk now. It's a 3-on-2. He's got Demetrius, some talented people. And Melody winds up. And the glove saved by Kiprusoff keeps it a 3-1 St. Louis lead. They might not. I mean, there's still it's amazing. There's still so much to be decided. And the regular season ends on Sunday afternoon. But by Sunday night, we'll know it all. This would be a great first-round matchup.
You're darn right. I mean, one of 2 teams, 1 or 2 real good teams would be eliminated.
I think both coaches told us, hey, you're going to have 2 really good teams in the West not think the playoffs. That's just how strong the Western Conference is, in contrast really to the East. 8.5 to play here in the second. It's 3-1 St. Louis. Turning point might have been the Sharks, but they had tied on a Teemu Selanne goal disallowed. Selanne, another chance, also played off his skate right to the Blues. St. Louis came back with another Corey Stillman goal and gets us to 3-1. Here's Tkachuk rolling in. Keith Tkachuk trying to go.
Oh, what a poke check.
And a poke check by the goaltender. Able to make the stop. Kiprusoff. And it rolls in on Johnson, and he'll hang on. A pretty good dump back behind the net. Van Ryn took his man out after the play. Looks like it might have been Marlowe.
Time now for our top shelf, presented by Nextel, your direct connection with the best players in the National Hockey League. And we just saw Keith Tkachuk break in from the left side. Let's hear from Keith.
Well, I think, as a goaltender, you have to move laterally, and when you do that, you open up. I mean, especially when they're coming out. I think most defensemen are going to play that shot, or as a big guy like myself, go wide, and I try to just make that one extra move to the middle, and then the goalie has to move, and he opens up, and it gives me a chance to. I mean, I don't look. I just put it in a position where I know the 5-hole, or he's going to move off the post.
Thoughts from Keith Tkachuk, who knows a thing or two about scoring goals.
Well, he said it. Shooters shoot and dekers deke.
So what was he doing on his last penalty shot? We'll show you when we get a chance. Mayer's shot is stopped, and he got the rebound back and whistled it over the net. Here's Stillman now. Maybe look for the deflection there. Kiprusoff kicked out the left hand. Stillman's in front of the net. Kiprusoff will hang on. Last game against Nashville, Keith Tkachuk found himself having a penalty shot. He just said, right, shooters shoot and dekers deke.
That's what he said. This is the reason for the penalty shot. He got taken down. And when he went in on this penalty shot afterwards, he said, it's the most embarrassing thing. I told him, I said, you got to give the goalie some credit. That was a wonderful save. A real good save moving to the right by Jan Lasik of Nashville.
I was giving him a hard time. I said, hey, was that Patrick Waugh that stopped you on the penalty shot? He said, cut it out. He said, everybody's been giving him a hard time about that. Lasik was playing in his first NHL game.
Lasik made a wonderful play. I mean, he played for Slovakia in the Olympics. He just hasn't, no one knows about him. But I thought that was a pretty good move for a big guy that usually shoots.
But you could tell he was getting some grief from the boys. By the way he reacted to talking about it earlier today. Good check by Stewart. Far side, here's Graves. Cross ice pass can't connect with Damphus. And they'll call it a two-line pass offside. 6:53 left here in the second. Coming up Saturday, it's another one of those special editions of ESPN's Wednesday Night Hockey. You know what, this late in the season, all the regular season games, they're all special editions. Truly meaningful for Martin Brodeur and the Devils in terms of seeding in the Eastern Conference. They'll be in Washington to take on the Capitals. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Saturday night here on ESPN.
Here's the remaining games from teams 5 to 8. Ottawa's got Boston, Toronto, pretty tough. New Jersey, Montreal, Washington. Islanders, Nashville, Tampa Bay, and Philadelphia. Montreal at New Jersey and against Buffalo.
You know, I'll tell you, despite the fact we put that up, remaining schedules and remaining opponents, to me, seems worthless lately. Doesn't it seem like Florida and Tampa and Anaheim are playing great hockey down the stretch? I mean, Anaheim single-handedly, if Dallas wants to look at one of the reasons they won't be in the playoffs, likely, they can look to a couple of games against the mighty Ducks down the stretch. I think it's a real credit to those organizations. There are others out there, like Nashville played these crews very tough the other night, but they have not quit. There are no easy opponents anymore. None of those games you can just count on, hey, that's a win, that's a loss. Can't play that game in the NHL anymore.
A lot of individuals respond better when there's no pressure on them. And so they come in, they're very loose, and so they end up playing better. But good teams don't take anyone for granted. Good teams prepare with respect. And if you don't respect your opponent, you're not going to fare out very well. But I mean, there still are advantages. If you're playing a team that's that's just demoralized, I mean, you should be able to go in that building and pound them and give them no reason to even want to come back.
Like the Leafs and Rangers last night?
Well, that's exactly it.
7-2, Toronto in Madison Square Garden.
See the young goaltender, Dan Blackburn, exposed to that this late in the year.
Good contact there, Ragusin and Nash. Here's Solani. Will it be a 2-on-1? He's got Marlowe with him. And a good defensive play by Bergevin. Took away everything. I think he took the pass and the shot away. Low tumbles down to the ice. Here's Solani. This has got to be a mismatch as to who's on the ice for San Jose and who's on the ice for St. Louis. And a penalty coming up as the Blues are caught running around.
Solani with a good chance. 2-on-1 break, and the veteran blocks it.
Play of the night.
Sharks desperately need this to jump back into it. They've got the rookie Jeff Gilson on the right point. Gilson's had a fine year. Last game he played 16.5 minutes, had a couple of shots against Columbus, but look for them to feed Gilson, and he's got a heavy shot. He's working with Gary Suter on the point.
Face-off win again by the Blues. Johnson will swing it away from Nolan. But it's right to Suter. Strange bounce off the glass. Must have hit the partition. Not the seamless glass here in St. Louis. And here is Vincent Damphousse. Damphousse rubbed out. Still got it, but Gilson is in deep. Let's see if the Blues can make him pay for it. Rolling puck. Podine can't get to it. They'll go for a change, and Suter will go back for it.
Yeah, you mentioned Drake's got 3 goals shorthanded. Sean Podine comes over from Colorado. He's got a goal and 1 assist for 2 points, and they were out there together to begin this penalty killing unit.
Coming up, 5 minutes, 9 seconds from now. Back to John Butchergrass, SportsCenter in game. Our Southwest Airlines intermission report. Golfing at Augusta. And lots of Major League Baseball this afternoon. Kind of a getaway day for the big leagues, as the big league teams get set up for their upcoming weekend series in a particular location starting tomorrow night. Minute 28 to play. The McInnes penalty.
I was going to say, see where Solani is lined up on that faceoff. He's way at the far boards on the right side. And Pronger keeping a close eye on Solani.
Young will just clear it down the length of the ice. Kiprusoff will leave it there. Out ahead. Here come the Sharks now with Solani. Thought he had a goal earlier in the game. Was disallowed. And here's Rathje. Vincent Damphousse will shoot it around the boards. Back by Johnson and clear.
You know, you can see they're a tired team, the San Jose Sharks. They're not regrouping as a team and coming back into the offensive zone. By the time Damphousse dumps that puck in, and that's fine if the goaltender can't handle the puck, but Johnson's pretty good at handling the puck. You dump it in, everybody's standing still at the blue line. It's an easy play for the defensive team.
Magnuson shot caught the glass. Nolan behind the net, bumped by Pronger. Here's back for Rathje. Lets it go. Tipped by the defense by Finley. And the Blues get to it. And it's cleared by Eastwood. Here's Podine on the forecheck. Kiprusoff. Magnuson will reverse the flow. He's hit by Podine. Comes up the near side. The Sharks will come out once again. 8 seconds left on the McInnes penalty. Shot around the board by Marleau. Far side Ricci. Gives it back to Marleau. In escape. Checked by Bergevin. And Drake gets to it. Hits McInnes out of the box. Didn't see he had Young with him. They shoot it softly, and they go for wholesale changes for the penalty kill by the Blues. Kavanaugh on it. For the Blues, back for Tkachuk. They play catch with give and go. And the kiss too far from Melody. Tkachuk and Stewart chop away at it. Tkachuk's got a second chance. He's tied up now by Hannon of the Sharks. Sturm comes over to help out. Here's Marleau deep in his end. Puts it in the middle of the ice. Here come the Sharks with Adam Graves. Long shot deflected out of play and into the crowd with 2:57 left here in the second.
Well, and power play, and Solani stayed on for nearly that entire power play 4, and they weren't able to muster anything up. But in the last 10 years, they've been a pleasure to watch offensively, and they're obviously very different types of players. Solani, a right-hand shot, a finesse guy that can make plays, and 407 goals the last 10 seasons. And Tkachuk is one-time Winnipeg Jet teammate. They're in the top 10. So Tkachuk's a powerful guy, drives hard to the net, really pushes the defenseman back in a different sort of way. Teemu Selanne does the same thing with his speed. And it's been a different transition for Teemu Selanne here in the San Jose Shark in that uni. And he's going to be unrestricted. So now you got yourself a situation here. So many of the teams that are contenders. You got Tony Amani in Chicago. They're contending. Billy Guerin in Boston. They're contending. Teemu Selanne. All the teams management-wise, they have all really decided. I mean, whether they decided it, it's an internal decision. I don't know, but it's unique in the sense that they're keeping them, and they are because they are in it. And they don't want to lose those players and lose momentum that they might have. But all those teams could lose these players at the end and get nothing except for a compensatory draft pick from the NHL.
Gilson able to keep in. Sharks cycle it down deeper. Sturm. Nicholas Sundstrom. Isn't a whole lot of him tonight. Sundstrom able to work it around Todd Harvey, and you can't get anything going offensively. Blues will just chop it into the zone with Stillman. Ray Ferraro hard charging and right into the crossbar with a minor assist from Suter. The faceoff will come outside the zone. Log on to NHL Gamecast with live scoring, shot charts, and game stats. It's the best way to follow the action of every NHL game. That's NHL Gamecast, available on ESPN.com and NHL.com, your source for online hockey. Hey, we should point out, congratulations to Vincent Damphousse. He had a first period assist. That's 1,103 career points. Ties him for 44th all time with the Big M.
Frank Mahovlich, oh boy.
One of the significant
Truly one of the great forwards and great left wingers of all time. And it's quite an accomplishment. Of course, Vinny Damphousse, a one-time Montreal Canadian, as well as the Big M. Not the same time.
Under 2 to go here in the second. Ricci taking his time. Glove down by Finley of the Blues. Kalicha can't connect with Kachuk. Here's Nolan across the red line, slapping around. And they're offside. Some players come together. Nolan had a bit of a shove there. Kachuk comes over to say hi. It looks like he's involved with Mellenby.
St. Louis needs to be as disciplined as possible. The San Jose Sharks need to trigger some type of emotion. You know, the San Jose Sharks have the ability to come back from a 3-1 deficit. 21 times this year they have scored at least 5 goals in a hockey game, and they've got depth as well. And the Sharks have 10 players with 30-plus points, and Brad Stewart, he hasn't had an assist in this game yet because he's got 29, and only 3 other teams in the entire league can say that about their lineup. That'd be Toronto, the New York Islanders, and the Vancouver Canucks. Pretty darn good team in the Western Conference. Not a lot of people talk about, but I mean, so San Jose can come at you in waves. What's really hurt them is their injuries. And not only we talked about Thornton being out because of that fight he had last night, but Stefan Matteau's out. We mentioned Marchman's out, but forward-wise as well, Bradley's out and Smith's out.
We talked with Daryl Sutter about that, asked him, hey, what's the big difference between this year? He said, we can score. You mentioned all the guys with all the points. That's the difference this season. You know, they're averaging some 3 goals a game.
Only 4 teams are doing that. 3 or 4 teams are doing that in the entire league. They know they can keep the puck out of the net.
So 2 goals is certainly not an insurmountable deficit. So a whole period to play here in St. Louis. Rafgiana for the Sharks. Bob for Nolan. Trying to cut to the middle on Krong, but he couldn't get it through to Damphousse. Tricky little pass by Damphousse. Gets it back. Return feed stopped by Johnson. And the referee, Nolan backed into the referee as delayed penalty was called, and we get the whistle.
And there was a broken stick on the ice because it's Jeff Finley's stick. He's going to get called for slashing. As the referee made the call right behind the net, Finley's going to have to go for a new piece of lumber, because that's what Owen Nolan tripped on.
St. Louis slashing.
37, Finley slashing. So when Owen Nolan was going behind the net to set up shop because they still had time, he tripped on the blade portion of Finley's stick, the bottom part, and that's where he fell. That's 48 seconds remaining in the second period, and what a momentum builder it would be for the Sharks if they were to score and go into the locker room with a better feeling. There's the slash right there on the left leg of Koryuk, and then in Finley, you have to drop your stick when it's broken. He drops it behind the net, and eventually Owen Nolan ended up skating on top of that.
Anytime you break your stick like that, it's a good indication of it's a pretty healthy slash.
Yeah, players say, hey, it's a weak spot. You know, it's a weak spot in the stick. Bad stick.
That's a great excuse. Does that ever work?
But Koryuk's got a strong leg.
Finley for slashing at 19-11. Even if they don't score, it'll carry over, of course, and they'll get the fresh sheet of ice.
The thing about it is, if you're going to slash somebody, you might as well make them pay. When you slash them on the shin pad, it doesn't work very well. It doesn't hurt.
Long shot, nearly tipped off. Johnson keeps up. It's still loose. Puck still loose. Scramble is on. The Blues get to it. The puck was loose. Johnson had no idea where it was, and Ricci couldn't pound it through him. Push back out to center ice. 5 seconds left. Another flurry of action towards the end of the period in front of that St. Louis net.
Johnson made a good save at the end of the first period. There was a flurry. It was the only flurry he had. And then he comes back in the second period here at the very end, and another good flurry. Scott Young had the puck and in full control, too. Boy, the teams have been relatively sloppy in terms of turnovers in their own zone. And Patrick Marleau's all alone, but a good save with the left pad.
2 goals in the period, giving the Blues 3-1 lead after 2.
The San Jose Sharks are on the power play here to begin this third period, and they've got the power play, fresh ice, and 1 minute and 11 seconds ahead of them.
It's a San Jose power play that came in ranked 11th in the NHL. And look to get something going here in the third period when they have been amongst the best teams in the final period.
Plus 26 goals, 4 goals against differential. That's strong.
Off the draw, Prager will wire it in. The Blues in the home white and the Sharks in the visiting tier. St. Louis wins, they clinch a playoff spot. The Sharks win, they clinch their first ever division title. And San Jose will look to now move it ahead. 50 seconds remaining on the penalty to Jeff Finley. Came at 19-11 for slashing. Pretty good slash, broke the stick on the play. Nolan winds up. 2 Blues diving in front of the puck and missed the mark. Dump deep in the corner. Solani is in front of the net, battling with Pronger. Here's Nolan back for Suter. Nolan gets it back on the return feed. Down low, Solani couldn't get to it. Dampus in a race for it. Drake beats him to it. And there's Eastwood for the Blues, and he's able to clear. Shots are 17-15 in favor of St. Louis.
Oh, Nolan had a pretty good chance, but when there's a player down going to block the shot, you have to get it up. You sometimes lose the accuracy of it, and he shot it wide.
Ricci's shot went wide. Speaking of wide shots, and a whistle as the net was knocked off. 3 seconds left on the Finley penalty.
Well, you mentioned the standings. You mentioned what it means. I think we should take just yet another look at the Western Conference standings. You really can't show it enough, and there's a huge game tonight, too. Vancouver is on tap there tonight as well. And you've got it right here. So San Jose right now, 97. They win, they get to 99 points. I mean, St. Louis at 92. They jump to 94. If they win this game, they jump to 94 and tie the Blackhawks for 4th.
And because they would have more wins.
Yes, they would have 41 wins. The idle Chicago Blackhawks would just have 40.
Right. Now, however, St. Louis doesn't win. Keep this up as long as we can, guys. Vancouver, let's say Vancouver wins tonight.
Yep, that'd be 92.
They would jump to 92, and they would have 1 more win, so they would be in the 6th spot, and that would bump everybody down.
Oh,
St. Louis to 7 and Phoenix to 8. And don't count out the Oilers last night.
Oh, what a goal by Mike Comrie. Oh, big, what a toe drag.
That was an unbelievable by Comrie.
He has got some hands. No, that's, as Daryl Sutter told us before, 2 really good teams in the Western Conference are not going to make the playoffs. The standard has been set in the Western Conference, and it is a high one. And so if you're going to get it, if you think you're going to compete for the Stanley Cup, you got to get in the race.
Right.
Commitment.
Differences in the East. We know the 8 teams that would go. The order is not necessarily set, although the top 4 are pretty well set. But we still, a lot of matchups still to be determined. Sweeping shot from Ricci was stopped by Johnson. Back to the point, through traffic, never made it on goal. Ricci will get another crack. Penalty is over. We're at 5 aside. Saunders trying to get to it. Kachuk, soft pass through his legs, has Mellenby clear at center. And he'll dump in. Dimitra is chasing hand and forth. They go hard to the glass. And it's Nicholas Sundstrom able to come up with it for San Jose. Back to the Blues blue line. Kavanaugh for St. Louis. Sees he has real estate in front of him, and will move in and backhand it in deeper. Mika Kiprusoff will lead there. Off a skate, picked off, quick shot, stopped by Kiprusoff as Dallas Drake let it go.
How many times have we seen that from the San Jose Sharks in their own zone, and they've just coughed the puck up, and they've allowed the St. Louis Blues, to come right at them. The Sharks at this point, Mike Ricci had a good play in the offensive zone. He was on his knees, and he went around the corner, tried to put it on net, and he ended up getting a kind of a weak attempt on the goaltender Brent Johnson who made it save. But if you're the San Jose Sharks and you're Daryl Sutter, telling the fellas, get that puck on net. I mean, put it on net. Do whatever you can. Just let's put some pressure. Let's cause them to spin around a little bit. But instead, the Sharks have had a difficult time making the right play out of their own zone. They keep coughing up and giving St. Louis the opportunity to get good scoring chances.
Back behind the net. Solani turns it over to Young. Young, red and score! Deflected in front, might have been Ferraro. Either way, it's 4-1 in St. Louis.
Well, the clear behind the net from the San Jose Sharks looked like it might have hit that partition and then bounced right here. Teemu Solani, it pounces right there. And it comes back. It was supposed to go to the winger, Marco Sturm. Instead, Scott Young pounced on it. Good play by the veteran Young. He put it on net, and clearly it looked like, anyway, it went off the left leg of Ray Ferraro. As Keith Tkachuk's talking to Scott Mellenby, going over some designs or some kind of plays or something that happened in the game. And sure enough, they score a goal, and a big goal, too. A real big goal for the St. Louis Blues.
Makes it 4-1. We'll wait for the official score, and Young really needs the goal.
I don't think he even cares, though, Steve, to be quite honest with you. I mean, he made the play. He put it on net. I mean, it's a great thing, but the guys in the room know. Whoa, whoa, what a hit by Patrick Marleau on Al McGinnis.
They're crediting the goal in the building to Ferraro. I understand the Blues don't care who gets it, but I would just think confidence-wise.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah,
it would help. And I don't know.
It was like Brian Smolinski scoring in the empty net. And he'd gone some for 30 games and hadn't scored. He might turning on the red light and getting that out of the way. Yeah, you are right.
People aren't talking about it as much.
Yep.
Ray would want credit for the goal. He's having himself a flying hockey game tonight.
For Ray Ferraro, that would mean 3 goals in the last 2 games. I mean,
here's Reed Lowe's got a lane, little drop pass. Lowe probably had a lane to shoot it. Reed Lowe has not scored a goal in 101 games. I realize that's not his job, but maybe drop pass there. There you mentioned, Banger, Ferraro's 3rd goal in the last 2 games. Ferraro got off to a big start with the Blues. Had 2 goals in his first 2 games when he was acquired. Then went 10 games without a point. And has started to heat up again when it counts the most.
Well, he's been set on the line. He comes in here with the confidence of his head coach, and he was a teammate in Hartford in earlier portion of his career, and that makes all the difference in the world. So when you know that your coach has that faith in you and you're in a pressure situation, you know you're going to get some ice time, and if you make a mistake, you're going to get you back out there. But Ray was telling me before the game that the difference is when you're older, there's times when your legs just aren't going, so you have to use your head. You have to think the game a little bit more. He says the last few games, his legs have been going. He says that's a great relief to go to the rink and know your legs are going to be there with you.
Ferraro is 13th from Young, 1 assist, even strength at 240. Blues have to be very pleased. They got 4 goals, Panger, all even strength goals. As that puck comes in front of the net, and Gilson will get to it for San Jose. Here's Nolan trying to make the move on Prong. A little drop pass for Ricci coming late, and that shot is blocked. Nolan will keep in as he and Pronger get together. And look out for Owen Nolan. He's running around pretty good now inside that St. Louis end. Nolan and Pronger will come together again. Here's Ricci now on the backhand. Ricci got a bit of a pet from Nolan. Graves finished off his man, and it's cleared out to center ice.
What an individual play by Sean Podine, though. Ricci looked like he was in. Podine came from behind, dove along the ice, and poked the puck away from Ricci.
Dimitra in a race for it. He'll get there first, no icing. Good hustle play there by Pavel Dimitra. Havanov is back to it. Havanov is checked, gets his sticks up, and Ricci. Game's starting to turn a little bit nasty now with a 3-goal deficit for San Jose. We'll watch for that. 5.5 minutes in. The hitting really picking up. You see some stick work, a little extracurricular after the whistle, as icing is called. Hannon back on the touch. Jeff Bagwell, Craig Biggio, and the Astros take on Jim Edmonds, J.D. Drew, and the Cardinals on this week's edition of Friday Night Baseball. That's Houston and St. Louis tomorrow night, just down the block from here. Down Market by the Arch on Bush. Tomorrow night, 8 Eastern, right here on ESPN. And the Cardinals supporting the Blues. There's Jim Edmonds on the right, and Tino Martinez on the left. Tino, one of the real good people in Major League Baseball.
He's at a hockey game. He's got to be a good person.
Trying to fill the shoes from Mark McGuire, playing first base for the Cardinals. He took over for Don Mattingly in New York, did a pretty nice job. He's at it again here in St. Louis.
Testing the baseball acumen, because I knew that. I knew both those things you just said.
I think it's neat. Prep hanger in the city of Chicago as that puck's out of play and into the crowd. Right, it's kind of nice when the players from the other sports, they support all the teams. I'm sure the Cubs were coming to your games, the old stadium, watch the Blackhawks.
Absolutely. A lot of guys, a lot of White Sox fan. We had two teams to choose from. And Darryl Sutter, of course, a part of Chicago history with the Chicago Blackhawks, was a captain. But you know what? When you look at his team, and this is where Darryl Sutter's intensity is, he looks down at that bench. He's seen his team on the ice, taking nothing away from the St. Louis Blues. But this is their 4th game, San Jose's 4th game in 6 nights. Saturday they had Detroit, Monday at Minnesota, Wednesday they're at Columbus, and then now tonight right here in St. Louis. And you know what? They look like that kind of team right now. And I think early on they were just kind of pacing themselves, kind of trying to weather a storm. They knew St. Louis was going to come at them. But with the injuries that they sustained in last night's game, and the fact they've had this intense schedule, like every other team in NHL, but it clearly looks like it's taken its toll on the San Jose Sharks.
This 4-1 lead should give Brent Johnson a little confidence. I didn't think he looked particularly sharp in the first period. Not on the goal that he allowed, but in terms of handling the puck, making some saves. And he should be able to relax just a little bit. And again, his numbers recently here on home ice, as you pointed out earlier, have been outstanding.
Yeah, they have. I mentioned the one word that goalers don't do, though. Relax. Even with a 4-1 lead, you're following the puck. You're getting yourself in position, because in transition it can happen so quickly. He's got to prepare himself for playoff hockey. And playoff hockey is all about making the saves that you're supposed to make, and then sprinkle in a spectacular one. And that's what makes playoff goaltending.
Got to win a game here and there.
You have to win a game. You can't
steal one.
Yeah, you definitely, you have to steal games. There's no doubt about that. Average isn't good enough in the playoffs.
Here's Suter. Nice shift. Lets it go, and Johnson will gobble that up. There's no rebound. 12:55 to play here in the 3rd. The Blues looking to clinch a playoff spot. Back here in St. Louis.
Look at that little guy.
It's going to be a goalie when he gets older?
Judged by his hairline already.
He'll be wearing number 42, huh? 40 also, not 42.
Rogaine at an early age. Future goalie.
When that mask all those holidays, that's got to have an effect. Back to the point. Cross for Suter. Corrals it now as the shot blocked. And the Blues will move ahead. Here's Mellenby now at center. Tried to get it for Dimitra and could not. McInnes took some of his puck. Knocked down at center ice. Here's Graves the other way. He's got the only goal for San Jose. And in fact, if you're just joining us, the Sharks have the 1-0 lead. So 4 unanswered by the Blues. Pair by Corey Stillman. A couple of dandy goals as well.
And not typical of down the stretch where especially the San Jose Sharks, a very good team at not turning the puck over. Every time they've turned it over in their own zone, it's resulted in a goal against. The Blackhawks say, I'm enjoying this night off. As Mika Kiprusoff gets the nod in goal, and it was Kiprusoff that ended the series last year against St. Louis because Nabokov was injured.
Turnaround shot stopped by Johnson, got the rebound as well. With the glove on Sundstrom. Here's Hannon able to keep it, floats one towards the net. Heavy-duty collision in front. Ricci just dumped Van Ryn. And those two bodies came together. Pronger, instead of trying to make the move, just shoot it in softly and kill some clock. 11 and a half to go in the 3rd. The Blues protecting a 3-goal lead. 11 and a half minutes away from clinching that playoff spot.
Big relief off their shoulders. Then they can look ahead to getting home ice advantage. And you get this out of the way and you start focusing forward.
Eastwood centering feed for Podine in the rolling puck. Podine was all by himself for a split second, couldn't get it to him. Here's Koroluk at center. Just onside. High off the glass. You're right. That's the first thing. Get in the playoffs, and then worry about your seeding and your matchups.
They still have a chance for home ice advantage. Imagine the way this emotional year has gone for this hockey club, and then they can end up with home ice advantage to begin the playoffs.
It's been so inconsistent, the Blues have.
They still have 92 points.
Tells you something about the West. They had a 10-game winning streak. Did. 10-game winning, not unbeaten, and that's significant. Brent Johnson played all 10 of those games at a .910 save percentage, a 2.07 goals against average over those 10. 10 straight wins. Sharks on it now. All set up, camped out in front. Big stuff by Johnson without his stick. Pops over the net on the rebound. Oh, heavy hit on the far side. Pronger just leveled Graves. Reverson's shot right on. It's blocked before it made it on goal.
Look for Graves and Pronger right here.
Graves at center. Pronger's without a stick. Pronger looked like he was ready to go. And we get a penalty. Don't go anywhere, folks. This one has the chance to explode. 9:54 to play here in the third. It's 4-1 Blues. Penalties are upcoming.
Alongside Steve Levy, Darren Pang, and our fine National Hockey Night crew back on tap in St. Louis. Pronger doesn't like that. He got his stick slashed from out of his hand, so he comes over to Adam Graves and just caught him completely off guard. You got the blood boiling there, but I got to tell you, Chris, all the player did was just knock your stick out of your hands like that, something that players do all the time.
Chris never done that before.
I was looking at his reaction. I'm thinking, well, you tapped your stick on it, but the fact is he was mad, and he really got this crowd going too with a hit. And Adam Graves went right over him. He really caught Adam completely off guard.
Penalty was on Ragnarsson for holding at 10:06.
Yeah, right after that.
It's the third power play of the night for the Blues.
And they are 0 for 2, but they scored that one by Stillman. It was just at the very end. There was 2 seconds that it would come back on the ice, so he wasn't yet able to join the play. But it's not a power play goal, obviously.
Here's Danfus. He'll get to it and clear. Johnson will sweep it aside for McInnes.
Smart play by McInnes, because he knows that Johnson's good at handling the puck, so he just let it come to him. Instead of trying to fiddle with the puck at the last minute, maybe deflecting into the net, he let Johnson have it so Johnson can play it back to him.
Here's Tkachuk. Good contact there in the corner. Pair of players go down. We get the whistle. And set for an update. As to elsewhere, there's John Butchergrass.
1-800-COLLECT, great save of the night. Dennis Arkhipov of the Nashville Archipovs thinks he has a goal, but Garth Snow says you'll get nothing and like it. Tomey save. Jim Tomey homer tonight, by the way. Garth Snow, 1-800-COLLECT, great save of the night.
Speaking of saves of the night, Johnson and Kiprusoff. Johnson had a dandy earlier. Kiprusoff had a couple of pretty good glove saves.
Both have good hands. For young goaltenders, they're both handsy guys. They grab a lot of pucks.
Here's Pronger, the big wide up with a shot, rocketing wide. That looked like Al McInnes velocity. Pronger's ticked off. Here's Stillman thinking about a hat trick. Stillman from the side, nearly winning off one of the Sharks' sticks. And it's pulled down the length of the ice. Off of Young. And into the crowd. We saw that Nashville highlight. What you think about Scott Hartnell the other night here? Lead low of the Blues, rubbed them out where the glass meets the bench. Another serious injury. Barry Trotz was saying what a cheap shot that was. Evidently Hartnell's going to be okay. Wednesday night hockey, it's special on Saturday night. Very important game to the New Jersey Devils in terms of seeding. They'll be in Washington to take on the Caps. 7 Eastern. 4 Pacific, Saturday night right here on ESPN. And the Blues fans thinking about the playoffs.
Got the happy feet going, huh?
Happy feet, happy hands.
Corey Stillman is showing some calmness with the puck. And you might want to just shoot that one next time. He's a creative player. He's waiting for something. He was trying to set up his line mate on the far side. Stillman had a good chance just to let that thing rip right in the middle of the slot.
Work along the wall, and it's cleared out. Just too far for Nicholas Sundstrom. Ragnarsson tried to backhand it, went off the skate. Blues take a turnover at center. Here's Tkachuk, somehow onside. Dimitra trying to squeeze through, and did not. Ricci will go cross ice. Solani trying to play it off the skate. Bergevin will push it back behind the net for Pronger. He's hit hard. Puck out to center ice for Dimitra. Cannon on it there. Pronger will get to it. Solani and Pronger. Watch for them. 7:15 to go here in the third. Corluck able to keep in. Fancy pass. And it goes right to the Blues. And here's Eastwood. Batted in by Tkachuk. They'll go for a change. Gilson pressured by Mayers. Corluck will shoot in softly. Finley back for St. Louis now. In front of his own net. Off the linesman, Sean Podine will get to it. Shoots in. Kiprusoff will leave it there. Suter, good first pass out of the zone. Trying to hit Harvey. Lost it deep in their own end. Now they work it back. Here's Harvey again. And across the line, Sundstrom for Harvey. The top hitter among forwards. As always, the shot from Todd Harvey. Danfus centering. Harvey. The slap shot is blocked. And Cameron's all the way out to center ice. Stillman on the block. There's Danfus on the backhand. Trying to feather it through and could not. And the puck will gently out to center ice. Nash will hit on Stewart. Lead low for Stillman. They're onside. Harvey is back for the Sharks. Lowe trying to get a piece of his man, but San Jose is still able to get to center ice. Harvey will backhand in. Look for a change. Stillman will flip high in the air, and it'll go out of play. Stayed in the ballpark. Sturm out ahead to center. Here's Ricci now. He's got Sundstrom with him. Has Rathje with him. Expect the Sharks to throw everything at the Blues now. 5:20 to go here in the third. There's going to be some pinching. You'd expect it soon.
No doubt about that.
Icing is called. 5:14 away from a Blues victory and a playoff berth. Special Thursday night edition of ESPN's Wednesday Night Hockey, presented by Nextel. Alongside Darren Pang, Tyler Cruz, Steve Levy from Savage Center in St. Louis. Coming into this one, the Sharks had not allowed more than 3 goals in any of their last 13 games. Longest streak of its kind in franchise history. Tonight, they've given up 4 as Brent Johnson makes the save and just shovel it off for his defense, and they're able to clear. Blues have gone into a bit of a prevent since the last Ray Ferraro goal. Lewis, no shots on goal.
Well, they're getting into playoff mode, really protecting the lead without being passive, but they're really forcing San Jose to make all their plays to the outside, taking nothing, or giving nothing, I should say, in the middle of the ice.
That shot is blocked by the defense. A good block by Finley. That was a tricky block. Shaft in the stick. There's a shot on goal. Kiprusoff in the corner. Kind of surprised we haven't seen more of an offensive flurry by the Sharks.
Yeah.
They clearly don't look as desperate as the Blues are. And by the way, that's the fact. It's accurate. San Jose knows they're going to be either the 2nd seed or the 3rd seed at worst. They certainly like to have home ice. That puck is pushed into the Sharks bench. Our Bud Light plus-minus league leaders. I think Chelly's going to get the Norris Trophy. A lot of people pushing for him. He's got top that list all season.
You got Rob Blake in Colorado, and you've got maybe a split vote, Nicholas Lidstrom and Chelios in Detroit. And Al McGinnis has never finished with a minus ratio in his 20 NHL seasons. And he's a +3 this year. He also leads all defensemen in shots. He's got 226, including tonight's action.
Here's Suter for the Sharks. 4 minutes away. And the Blues playoff berth. Wrapped around the boards. Here's Johnson. They'll leave it for Pronger. Across the red line and shoot it. Good strategy at this point. Stillman turnaround shot. Stopped by Kipper. Here's Nash. Back behind the net. Dimitra dumped on his hockey pants. Here's Nash from the side. Got it away. Kipper made the save. Lowe will cycle it down deeper. And it's cleared. Here's Alexander Korlak. Offside at the St. Louis blue line with 3:14 left. Our Old Spice storyline from Savage Center in St. Louis. There you see the Sharks, their 4 goals allowed, the most in 13 games. Keith Tkachuk starting to get playoff ready. 10 goals in his last 13 games.
Let's go to our Old Spice replay, and that's the second period action here. At 2:51 of the second period, Teemu Selanne thought he had tied the game up at 2-2, 41 seconds after Keith Tkachuk had scored to give St. Louis a 2-1 lead. But that wasn't the case. It was disallowed, and the St. Louis Blues come roaring back behind Corey Stillman's fine play. Stillman's got 2 goals in this hockey game, and he's been a good player. Good player. Making the right decisions and obviously taking advantage of a couple of situations. One kind of a mystery by the San Jose Sharks in their own end. Turnover and another turnover in that second period.
Nash on the forecheck, able to make the steal. Nash has had a couple of good shifts here late in the game. He's the pin of the boards now. Damphus comes over. Here's Ridlow to take it away. Put it out in front. McKinnis, a shot is stopped by Kipper. Down the stretch, the Blues seem to have more offense than the Sharks. Here's Harden to shoot to the corner. Stewart's in deep. Mayer's good back check finds Dallas straight. Out ahead, here's Lowe trying to tip it by Ragnarsson. He's at the end of the shift. Lowe hit by Harvey. Here come the Blues. Drop pass. Ferraro trying to rocket one. Blocked by Ragnarsson.
Ragnarsson looks like he might have been stunned a little bit. He was kind of sideways when he made that shot block. The kind you fear if you're the coach or teammate or medical staff because your hands are exposed.
Reaching softly towards the front of the net. Heavy to be hit 2-on-1 in the corner on Finley by a pair of Sharks and sent back down to the San Jose end. Mike Rathje is back for the Sharks. Minute 45 to play. Here in the third, the Blues have a commanding 4-1 lead. Here's Ricci, backhander stopped by Johnson. Ricci had his stick held momentarily there. Havanov trying to work it free. Sundstrom does. Right to Ricci. Centering pass broken up. Here's Hannon. He'll keep it in. Shoot a little deeper. Young softly ahead. Here's Tkachuk. He's one-on-one. Trying to make the move. Just behind him. Tough to beat Rathje in a one-on-one situation. Rathje goes 6'5", 243. That is reach.
Yeah, long stick. Tough to get around that. You're right. Rathje's really come of age, and this goes to show you. Be patient with defensemen in this league. It's the toughest position to develop.
Pronger's a great example of that.
It certainly is.
Up the near side. The Blues again able to come out with Dimitra. Here's Dimitra. Tkachuk, a high slot area. Backhand pass. A shot by Tkachuk just went wide.
Stillman's got a chance for 3, a hat trick. He's got 2 already.
Centering feed through everybody, and it's Marleau. Looks like his 6-game goal scoring streak will come to an end. Patrick Marleau, unless he finds himself free here. Here's Suter coming late. He's in deep. Centering feed. Selanne couldn't get a stick on it. Marleau is hanging around the front of the net. 20 seconds left. Centering feed. Johnson nearly left the post, but was able to make the save. Suter keeps him momentarily. It's Nash. They backhand softly. Will go far enough for icing. It won't. 5 seconds left. The party is about to begin in St. Louis. And with that, the horn sounds, and we welcome the St. Louis Blues into the Stanley Cup playoffs. The Blues, by virtue of their victory, clinch a playoff spot in the most difficult Western Conference. And your updated standings up to the second. The Blues jump up a couple of slots into the 4th spot. Keep in mind, Vancouver plays a little later tonight, and they have the ability to jump up as well. But congratulations to Brent Johnson, Gave up the first goal and nothing after that.
Yeah, he goes 6-1 now in his last 7 games on home ice. Johnson, after stumbling on the very first play, he came back with that good solid save. And he wasn't tested in a great way, but what a save that. That was the best one of the bunch right there. Owen Nolan in the slot. He made a great save on Owen Nolan. He thought he had a goal. And then the last one here, backhanded attempted and easily punched that out by Mike Ricci from our Southwest Airlines goal cam. It's the left pad of Brent Johnson, and the St. Louis Blues are in it.
And there is the star of the game, Brent Johnson. 22 saves, and the St. Louis Blues for the 23rd consecutive season will be in the postseason by virtue of their 4-1 win. Saturday here on ESPN, more great hockey action. New Jersey against Washington. That'll be big for the Devils. Coming up next, it's Baseball Tonight. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. For Darren Pang and our entire crew, this is Steve Levy. The Blues are in the playoffs. Baseball Tonight now.